this is a really key piece of, I think, getting good on electric instruments, which is finding, and this plays deeply in dynamics, like knowing where on your dial really feels the best for you. For me, I'm trying, ideally, I actually think when you came to Lucille's and I played that, was that your bass, the Squire that we played? However it was set, made it really challenging, because at least what I'm aiming to do is have to put as little effort as possible to get the effect I want, right? So it was like the volume was pretty low, which meant I had to dig more than I really wanted to. Yeah, but sometimes that's not enough. Like you can turn it up, but depending on how you set the amp and the bass or guitar can mean a lot. But anyway, that's just like but it's about like that intention though, even, you know what I mean? Like having it set to a point, and then that's where technique does come into play, because habituating yourself to the idea that this should be easy and I should be putting as little effort as possible, which a lot of us don't do, or it's challenging to get to that point. Like, when you're listening like metal bands and all these people doing crazy fast stuff, you're relying heavily on like a good setup so that you can do this. And this is true in your body too. Like the higher you sing or the faster you're going when you're playing drums, the more relaxed you need to be. So it's really important to make sure that the instrument isn't working against you, because if you start having to like tense up, it can exacerbate that problem, I guess is what I'm saying. So anyway, I guess setting it pretty high is fine if you have enough control that you're not just blowing out the rest of the band. It's the long story.
So I think like I might try setting it high, and then
let's see. I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, let me know if it's
like I'll let you know if like you're like killing the vibe or whatever.
yeah. That's what I want to know exactly.
I'm gonna turn this off. Yo, X, whoever X is, what's up? Alright, so let's just do this. Let's play. Someone play an idea. Someone choose. Who wants? You came up with the thing last time. You want to start?
Alright, sure.
I think it sounded good. How do y'all feel? Do you feel like it was too busy?
This is actually my first time starting from something that's more like melodic and then trying to apply a bass line on top of it. So I think it's like a good exercise for me to like kind of like figure out where the anchor points are in music and figure out where I can like
I think that's actually a good exercise. Is like a lot of times we start with a chord progression and then we come up with a riff that fits over it. And so I think it may be good practice to do that in reverse and start with a riff and try and figure out what the chords are that fit.
Could be. Yeah. Power trio, let's go. No, in all honesty, and again, I mean that very intentionally. What they are versus what they could be. because I do think I found that was really interesting because the way you were hearing that, I don't necessarily think it was. Well, some of it may have been quote unquote out of the key, but I also heard like the melodic logic of what you were doing in that line. It just wasn't how I was hearing it. Like, I was like, oh wow, okay, I think where I expected to go, it didn't go.
Interesting.
But so what key are you in, Brian?
I guess you could say B minor.
Hey,
Yo.
sit B minor.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you. Good, good, good.
Likewise. How are you?
I am well. I am well.
Hi, I'm
Let me
Bill.
get you set up. Now we got it.
The Bill?
Not Bill?
The Bill.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Germani?
Nice. Ooh.
Oh, you
Sorry,
alright?
friend. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm alive. Brian.
It's good to see you.
Likewise.
Let's see. Let me get I'm gonna get a little mic for
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Oh, is it a shoes off party?
It's whatever you want it to be, you know.
I can take them off. I like being grounded.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
These are clean
Connect to the
socks.
earth. Nice.
I like feeling the vibrations of like the actual music too. So.
Hell yeah.
Hey.
Okay, do you guys want to do this new idea or the first thing we did?
Well,
I'm down
I
for
was
whatever.
thinking that might be the chord progression. I just
Yeah.
can't hear it.
I see. Well, okay, yeah, I think we have to come to some agreement here, which I don't think we found yet.
Yeah.
Consensus.
Can you play the bass line you were just
Yeah.
playing?
Check, 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 check.
Okay, so that second chord doesn't I think fit super well over the D.
Yeah, I think I messed up at that point.
No,
So,
you're good. The rest of it,
yeah.
I think, the rest of it, I think works.
I was done. And then I was. Does that work?
All right, so we're coming up. So right now, I feel like we're coming up on a key question.
Okay.
Who bends to who?
Okay.
So in an ideal world, probably whoever is coming in bends to the initial part. But in musical reality, that's not always how it goes. So what probably is going to happen, I'll say this. Number one, this again comes back to chemistry of the musicians and like understanding like who's experienced. So it might make more sense for you to bend to his part than the other way around, right?
Yeah.
In which case your job is just to stay where you are. Because what if you get into this like, well now I'm going to change to fit you and now you're going to change to fit me, everyone's just lost and you miss each other.
Yeah.
So as a bassist especially, if you're going to lock in. I also feel like, you know, both being as a player and as a vocalist, it's just overall much easier to bend the melodic to the music. And maybe, I don't know if you have the same perspective, but I find it easier to bend the melodic to the music than the other way around. Like trying to, you know what I mean? So with that being the case, you're playing more of a melodic part. I think you can find a shape maybe that fits a little bit more inside.
I got it. I just, it kind of moves not super fast, but a little bit fast.
Right.
So I can find something with a similar vibe, but maybe that doesn't have that many notes that I'll be able to fit.
Also,
Yeah.
transparently, I'm also trying to work on like my listening ability and just my ear in general. So but yeah, I was also challenging myself to like figure out like.
Or you want a few more rounds with it?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, why don't we
I'll-
try it, but
yeah.
take it at a slower clip. Like, let's
Yeah.
go like a lot slower if we can, to give you a little bit more space to figure it out.
Okay, cool.
Ready?
Thanks.
Wait, okay, sorry, I wasn't ready to play it slow.
Why don't you just let Brian start it?
Okay.
Set the tempo. Just start like. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, can you remember that? Okay, let's talk about it very briefly. So, what I like, and I just want to make sure you're cognizant of this. So that second note you're choosing is pretty out. But I like that.
Okay.
Like personally, I think that if you're confident in that like choice,
Yeah.
that'll really work. But
Nice.
but you're choosing something. I just want to make sure you're hearing that you're choosing something that's a little less like consonant.
Is it,
It's a little less smooth.
That note or
No.
this note?
Whatever the second note. Play it again. The first note. Let's do it in tempo.
What
I'll
I'm
point it
doing
out.
is what's out.
It was like the.
Right. Meaning that all I'm saying is that there's like that's a tension point in the music, which I think is great.
Okay.
But so there's the like there's looking at the music. I'm trying to remember. Were you here last week?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So we were talking a little bit about like finding where it exists on the range of consonants to dissonance, basically, right? So again, we're getting away from what is right or wrong. It's just like is our execution matching our intention,
Yeah.
right? So more than being like, oh, is this E minor or whatever, that's good to know as well. But do you feel confident in feeling like, oh, this feels like at rest versus this feels like there's like this is a tension point, and then choosing whether you want that or not.
Okay.
So for me, I like that line because I think that tension note adds, like how you guys are, the relationship between the guitar line and the bass gives it edge, and I think that's nice. And then you bring it, when you started to bring it back inside, it works really well.
Okay.
But I just wanted to like see, are you hearing that, or you know what
I
I'm
heard
talking
it.
about?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay.
And to be honest, I was still like just fudging around and trying to like figure out what was exactly like in the shape that he's playing with.
Right.
But yeah, when I landed on it, I was like, oh, that sounds cool, so I'm just gonna like rock with that anyway.
Right. So here's the other piece of this. This is what I was going to tell you.
Yeah.
Which is, this is again is why it's important to know your role in the ensemble.
Mm.
Because though Brian may be the more experienced player in this case, you're the bass player. And the bass, much to my dismay sometimes as a keys player, you know, you control the music and on such a like deep
Yeah.
deep level, right?
Yeah.
So what fits inside of what he's doing, you could theorize and someone can like through music theory like say like this is a better choice for this, blah blah blah. But it is definitely like your taste matters a lot here.
Okay.
Okay, so making strong decisions and standing on that is going to be really definitive for how the music feels. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Versus being like, if you're hesitant or you're like, I don't know if this fits in,
Mm.
that's going to be translated in music. Does that make sense?
It'll make
So while we're
sense.
playing this riff, which I think does sound very good together, I just want you to try and pay attention to how each note you're choosing, does it feel like it's landing? Does it like feel like it's on solid ground? Or does it feel like maybe it's like,
Shaky.
and that's not to say shaky is bad. It's
Yeah.
to say it's a different energy that you're
Okay.
cultivating. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So let's try this. Why don't we get into it? I'm gonna plug this here microphone in.
Hey, I have a slightly embarrassing question, and it's to everyone, but first to Zalvin. Is it cool with you if I hit my bacon here? And then, of course, everyone else, is it cool
Oh well.
if you...
But
Is
me
it a
first.
vape Or like.
Nicotine.
But
Yeah.
it would have
Nah,
been
that sounded
cooler
good.
if it was a weed vape. Because I would have asked to hit it. It's okay.
Oh, are you just disappointed because you can't get none?
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zavin, what's
Well, I mean, people smoke down here, but what does it have like a weird flavor? Is my basement gonna smell like?
That's real. Peach. Peach is new.
That's okay. That's respectable.
if you're not cool with it,
No, I'll tell you the truth. But no, that sounds fun to me. If it's really gross and unbearable, I'll let you know. You know what I mean?
If it's that artificial, it's artificial.
I don't think it's natural flavors.
Natural flavored vape.
Vapes with natural.
Can we work that
flavors.
into the song?
They only have those in Williamsburg.
Oh, you know what?
Do you think they have like organic vapes at Whole Foods or whatever?
I would die. And so would everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whoever tried it would too.
Hello.
Cloud with organic to me.
Hello.
Wait, it's up. Up.
Hello.
It's still a little quiet.
It is. She's shy. I don't like that. Why is she?
Yeah, why is she so shy?
Why are you so shy, friend?
It sounds
Oh, friend.
muffled. I need a better
Why are
vocal
you
app.
so shy? She's shy.
Well,
Project? No, it's not even working with a projection. Hello.
it's weird. Let me try one other mic. Let's see if that helps.
Okay. That is funky. It's stuck in my head like a earworm.
Yeah. Oh no. Check. Okay. Alright, I got another idea. Hold on.
Wow.
Exactly. Let's see if this does. This might be better for this.
Sound.
Hey.
Yes. Sound. Sound.
Okay. I think we're in better shape now.
Check.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So let's continue playing on that riff. Do you remember your part? You remember your part. You remember his part. and you can.
Hello?
And you can add on a part.
Okay, there we go.
I
I think it's just a tangle in the chords, perhaps. There we go. Projection.
Yeah.
You just tilted to get it to work, or? Oh. Okay.
Oh no, I also turned it on.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very fragile.
I was wondering. Alright.
Okay, so let's try that. Let's try that groove again and give Giovanni some space to develop an idea on top.
You can.
I'm like, and then what happened?
I was trying to re-up on the vape that I left at home, and they ran out of the peach flavor.
Oh,
I told you I was gonna work it in there.
real life.
Yeah.
Inspiring
It's
the
like,
art.
I got you.
And that's immortalized on YouTube.
Exactly.
Amazing. For all time now. Wow. Okay, well I love where we're starting from here. Before I interject my thoughts, did anything guys occur to you? What did you feel like was working, or what did need work? What needed work?
I needed more space, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, it felt like there wasn't a lot of room for you. Okay.
It felt like that. It felt like the group was tight and in the pocket, so I'm like trying to figure out the lyrics to go in between. The lyrics were coming, but then it was wordy because it was storytelling. And if you already have a melody that is its story in itself, you like how do you create a breakdown?
Right.
And so it was like I was setting a scene and the scene was already made. So it was just like, should I keep my part more minimal to just like ooze, ahs, melodic so that it fits in with what we have going on? Like those were the thoughts that I was having.
Okay, and you know, I think this fits very well into the conversation of dynamics.
I can scale back.
Right. Well, and so I think dynamics is a word that's interesting because it can imply volume, but not just volume. Because I actually think dynamics has more to do with like the feeling and like the intensity of the music and the space in the music.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there's like, I think we should work on creating a version of that same part. It doesn't have to be another part necessarily, but how do you create a more minimalist version so there's more room for a lead?
I got it.
Right? But I'm sorry, did you have something you wanted to add, Jomani?
Yeah, you said basically what I was thinking. It wasn't even just the sound. I think like the minimalist part would definitely bring a lot more of the space in there. So it was like, where can I cue in that, okay, I want to fit in here. Because what I was thinking was for the parts where you go, I would follow, and that would basically lead into y'all doing your thing and shredding. And then I'd come back in with like a second verse that I would come up with during that part.
Right, it feels like that could be like a chorus part maybe, or like, or at least a more like full, loud part of the music.
Yeah.
And then there should be a part that that has more space. This makes me think I want to talk just briefly about targeting.
Mm-hmm.
Are you, who here has heard of like targeting, like note targeting? Have any of you heard that terminology?
I have not.
Okay.
I think I can infer, but
Right. I mean, you know, we generally know what a target is, right? But in this context, what it really implies, and this is definitely something that's used a ton in bebop, a ton in jazz music, which is, you know, all those notes are not created equal. You know what I'm saying? They may have equity. I hope so. But they're not created equal.
The segregation in music.
Well, no, they're all together. You know what I mean? But they do play different roles. They do play different.
Black keys and white keys.
Is that going
Right,
on?
no, wait, hold on. That's not where we're going.
You and your half notes.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. That's crazy.
3/5.
I always
1/2. I see the correlation.
Why do they all look so
thought of that joke, and I was like, I can't make that joke.
Oh,
Yeah.
the compromise, the half note compromise. You can only go half step up,
That's crazy.
but you can't come back down.
Right. But so what I'm referring to is, yes, all the notes are equal, but they have different roles.
They're just different.
They're just different.
They're separate but different.
Exactly. Fair enough. But that is to say, like, you know, when you hear a line, starting to think about, okay, what are the notes that anchor this part? Okay, so I almost don't want to tell you what my interpretation is.
I already have an idea.
Right, but so a lot of the times the stuff that you're hearing when you could do, there's like a million varieties of like riffs and runs that lead you to that final note. The target note isn't always the last note in the phrase, but often is. It's like, okay, this is what lands us back home in the music, like makes us feel like all those other things made sense, right? So I feel like there's like 2, 3, maybe 4 notes in your original line that operate in that way. So if you can like try to clear out the other stuff for a second to get back to those other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I got
You
some.
think you have a sense, right?
I've been working on it as you were talking.
Okay, perfect, perfect. This is why I ramble, so that you can, have
We do
time
a
to
multitask. Yes.
filibustering, as you like to say.
Philosophical.
Philosophical filibustering.
Yes. There's a point.
Right.
There's a target note.
Okay, so let's try it exactly. So let's just try to do a verse section with this more minimal version. Let's see how that works. 1, 2, 3, yeah. Okay, nice. All right, let's go. Okay, so just that obviously, that felt more comfortable for you?
It's in.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna make just a couple suggestions. It still felt like there was a melodic part, so I think that was nice. I think you could even be a little more minimal
Okay.
and imply more. Maybe again, this is like the ratio between notes and ghost notes, right? So ghost notes, you can still create texture in the music without it interfering too much with what's going on. So maybe even subtract 1 or 2 more notes, add a little more rhythm to the mix, and see how that feels. Let's see what feels better. I'm not sure. We'll see. I like that part a lot, but let's see if we try to nail in this point how that works out. Does that sound fair enough?
Yep.
All right. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Brian, do me a favor. Try this. Try the notes that land on the strong beats. So see, it's like. See what I mean? Like. No, let's syncopate it. Just for the sake of it. Just because we're just like trying to figure out this targeting system, right?
Oh man, this is exactly what I said I wanted to work on, and that's I struggle.
You
with
got
that
what you
sometimes.
asked for. Okay, well I'm gonna give you while we play. This will give so you don't feel like you have to strictly stick to one line. Try and work on it, figure it out as we go, and it'll give Giovanni a little bit more space to talk about the bodega run. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Get into it a little deeper. You know what I mean? We haven't even met the bodega cat. You know what I'm saying? We gotta like
Sitting on bread.
exactly every
But the
time.
strong beats
Maybe
are-
the chips sometimes.
Yeah, really.
Strong beats are 1 and 3, right?
I'm saying strong beats are. I'm talking about the down beats. So it could be 1, 2, 3, or 4, but as opposed to the syncopated or in between, try and land on just like the real, like reinforce, like we have like this 4 on the floor thing happening, right? And just try for now, try and just focus primarily on hitting on those grooves, on those beats. Changes the music a lot, right? Woo! Okay, no, that was dope. That was dope. Okay, so any observations? What did we like? What do we feel like we wanted to perfect? Anything come to mind?
We just slipped into like a really nice B section.
Mhm.
I liked it. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
fire.
I don't even know how that happened.
And C-section, I think that
The
bridge
C-section.
came
Oh,
pretty naturally,
okay.
you know, that like kind of bridge moment.
Yeah,
I've
I
been
think-
working on bridges.
Okay, yay! All right, doing the work, doing the work.
Putting in the work.
I think there was a point in that where we all kind of just trusted each other.
Mm.
Like, you know, like when things are going right, you kind of just like, I don't know, feel it like you, it's like a cliche when you talk about jamming, but you kind of like lock in and you kind of just expect that if you change something a little bit, people will feel it. Like when I started playing quietly, you noticed right away.
Mm-hmm.
And like when things aren't going right, or like if you feel at least it's not working for you,
Right.
you're more focused on that and less focused on what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, it can definitely be that way, where it feels like you're trying to figure out what's the thing that will make it
Yeah.
right again, quote unquote. Yeah, I love those choices. I thought there was a lot of great choices. It felt very musical to me. I think the thing I'd like to emphasize is just maybe the power of, like, sometimes I feel like everyone, it's like, how to put this? It's like syncopated notes are like the cool kids. Like everyone just like wants to, like, even if they don't belong there.
They just show up.
They're just trying to add, you know, like not adding just for the sake of adding. As I think we saw, like you emphasizing just this like really strong, like the downbeats. I thought it was funky as hell. You know what I mean? It felt clear. It felt focused. You can make choices that lean more into syncopation, but then again, it's like, so this is that. I guess this is the other one of the other spectrums, right? So you have like consonance to dissonance, right? And then I guess what I'll call like reinforcing, like reinforcing the metronomic time versus playing against it, or you know, creating like some, like I think I was talking about, you weren't here last week, Jelani, right? So like we were talking a little bit about how like the way I conceive of notes is kind of on this spectrum of like, okay, so you have your chord tones, which are the notes of the chord, and those are the ones that tend to have like the most gravity. They feel very safe and secure. And then you have color tones, which is a lot of times where you have your 9s and your 13s, all these fancy jazz notes. Those are called extensions, and that gives like more color and like richness to the music. But they also can make it feel a little bit more elevated, not as like stable and solid. And then on the far end is the part where people don't talk as often, which are what I was calling the blue notes or the out notes. So all the other notes. So like if you are in C major, all those black notes, you know, all those black notes are those are the out notes
The
in
color
that context.
notes.
Right. And those notes aren't wrong. They're just more aggressive in this context. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
You know, and when you have all white notes, when you start adding.
I see what you mean.
Was there
I
a black
see what
note
you
that
mean.
happened to have a dream? Like, is that what it's going
That's
on?
why they're separate.
That whole
Right.
black note,
They're
white
scary.
notes,
Black
at
notes
the
are
same
scary.
time.
Integration.
Black notes are scary.
Yeah, right. Sometimes. But again, yeah, it's really not, those notes are not wrong in that context. But they are much more dissonant or out choices. So like looking at it more as choices, and I think the same thing applies with rhythm. So you have notes, because ultimately it's about us. It's about how we feel, how notes and how sounds and visuals make us feel. And there is like theory behind that. There's like some form of science behind that. And there's some subjectivity too, but things that are like reinforcing that strong thing, that is gonna feel more like a chord tone, like something that's like bringing us back down to earth. And then the more syncopated you get, the more jazzy you could even say you get, funky or jazzy, the more you're taking into this world of coloration, and then sometimes into like the realm of out, right? I almost want to visit that in a deeper way, because what I will say is, without convoluting this point too much, you know, once you start understanding those relationships, you you can start playing with, okay, I know what my target note is, like I know I want it to land here so it feels stable, but then there's like a whole world where every other note is an out note, or it's all color tones, or if you want it to feel more stable, you're choosing more notes that are in the chords. So that it depends on what you're trying to get out of it, you know what I mean? And like, so if you want something to feel, like I think triads, like simple chords, tend to feel more triumphant, or like they feel like they have da-da, you know, that classical, you know, da-da, it feels very like focused, and they're not lesser than a chord with more notes, right? It just gives you a certain intention. But if you want something to feel more impressionistic, if it's like a feeling that's a little more abstract, like I feel like the bodega also fits really well. Let me let me cook for a second, because like I think lyrics are the same way too. You could say, like, to me, what seemed to naturally occur to you, like lyrically felt it very, very, very rooted and very down to earth and very storytelling, because I think the music was also kind of implying that sort of like rooted feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It didn't feel like an act, like you could have talked about anything, but you chose like, look, I went to the store and I needed my, you see what I mean? Like, and so you can I think you can play with this idea of this spectrum, whether you're talking about lyrics about like groundedness to, I guess, you know, heaven and earth, with whether you're talking about rhythm or notes or lyrics, like how it makes us feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those choices.
I will say the hardest part is remembering lyrics. So doing an improv thing and then trying to remember exactly what I said, like
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes if we run it back.
I think you can use this target idea with lyrics too, because this definitely is true of freestyling. Like you learn how to be like, you know, oh, I want to land on this word because that's the word that rhymes. But everything that comes before it could be a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're, give me a word. What's a word? Burger. Okay.
Okay.
No,
Wait,
burger.
I
That's fine, that's
got you.
fine.
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Vegetarianism. Yeah. But whatever. So if you want to land on burger, you could, like, it could literally be, oh, I'm so hungry, I really want a burger. It could be, you know, whatever. Why'd you put too much lettuce on my burger? Like those are very different. You see what I'm saying? Like there's like a lot of riffs or I guess you actually could consider those in this context runs.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like all the things that are leading up to that moment, that's your target. And so then you're finding things to like fill the space, but there's a lot of different things you can do with that space.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Right.
The concept I have is I'm about to lose it because I couldn't get my favorite flavor. Like they, that's it. They ran out. That's the last straw. That's it.
Right, so, and I think, so, okay, so maybe let's pick some words. So you're saying, what are the phrases here? What are the key phrases or the target phrases?
So
Favorite flavor, or is it like, so
I
vape?
left the vape at home.
Okay, I left the vape at home.
Through Brooklyn I roam. Find my bodega. They're out of the peach flavor.
Okay.
Those are like the calling cards.
Okay, so I might even say, just for, again, to emphasize this, right? Maybe even shorten it. Because you could be like, bodega, peach flavor, what was the other one? You said Rome?
Left my vape at home.
Okay.
Through Brooklyn I roam.
Okay. So I would say actually cut off a lot, because then and try and experiment with different versions of this. So say home, Rome, bodega, flavor.
Alright, cool.
And anything that precedes it, you know what I mean? There's like a multitude of directions you could go with that.
Rome, bodega, flavor.
Right.
Cool.
And maybe, and you can even repeat that, right? Just go through those two sets of couplets, right? And then do it again, but now maybe see if you can come up with a different idea. I'll add this one last thought. Actually, no, let's do this before I add another thing into this, but we'll get back to it. Okay, let's play it. Okay, for the band. So we have a lyrical concept. We have a whole thing now. So what do we think? What do we want to do in order to add? This is where I think what we're getting into is arranging, like live arranging.
Okay.
So how do we add another layer of depth to this idea, right?
So, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have multiple variations?
So no, yeah, I was mostly playing the same thing with, you know, a few extra like fifths and octaves in there. So like, yeah, I could like try changing it up. When we did the like B/C section, I just hung out on the B a little longer, and then I just
Like a pedal point, yeah.
yeah, and then I kind of like waited to see what was gonna happen.
I kind of want to do an experiment if it's cool with you.
For sure.
So basically, I want to play a steady riff
Okay.
and have you slowly walk up the scale and
Alright.
see if that kind of fits.
Okay.
You cool with trying that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Okay, cool.
I could also try like a different
So like what?
scale.
So like from there, what I would recommend is some of those worked better than others.
For sure.
But I like personally, I like the moving in one direction feeling against something that stays static.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, agreed.
So
agreed.
like a little like ascending like bass line.
Yeah,
just, like-
yeah. So like just like pick your notes, pick whatever sounds good to you, but
Okay.
like
Yeah, I'm gonna say, one only thing I want you to consider is, this is definitely where taste comes into play.
Okay.
You know, one way that you can, because again, if we go too far off into our musician land,
Yeah.
the song disappears.
Mm.
Now we're at Berkeley or whatever. No shade, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
and that's fine and dandy, but like, picking a spot, picking one note to change, which you can consider a ream harmonization.
Yeah.
You know, 1 or 2 notes that give it some spice, but coming back,
Ah.
right? If you change all the notes, now that's almost like another section, which is definitely also a vibe.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
especially later in the song, I feel like that's a good moment to start like going farther out and trying more things.
For sure.
But maybe at first try adding one note different and landing, but then coming back to the initial like chord progression.
Yeah.
You
I
see
think.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's definitely a way we could incorporate like simplicity and then like also try to just push the envelope a little bit. I think like at one point I had played that and then that, and instead of going here, I went I think here.
Mm-hmm.
So like we could try just some stuff like that.
Yeah,
See
see,
what
see,
works.
and
Yeah.
see which one of them's work. You
Yeah.
know, like you might hit one where you're like, oh, that really, you know what I mean? Try
Yeah.
that, I'm gonna hold on to that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Try some different variations.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay, cool. I think that's good for now. Yeah, yeah. Maybe you test the waters with adding a few more syncopated notes. You see what I'm saying? Try and keep that consistent.
can you show me on the drum what the syncopating notes sound like?
Well, any syncopated note would be, what we're really generally talking about are the notes, what are considered the weak notes, quote unquote, but we're talking about one E and The E's and the U's are examples. The ones you have a hard time, those
Yeah.
are the ones.
So like what I'm saying is like could you hit the strong notes with the bass drum and hit the weak notes with another?
Yeah. So like it would be an example would be like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? That's the end, right?
That's the E.
That's the E. So and that's something you can practice, which is just isolating, and when we, probably tomorrow, honestly, we'll
Yeah.
probably get into it, but taking each one of them and hearing them like a melody, like, okay, this is what E sounds like, this is what sounds like, and getting used to that, and then you can start combining them. But let's try a little bit. Let's see what we can get to. So don't overthink it, but I think you're gonna feel the difference between if you're just like chick 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 versus you know what I mean?
Am I still playing the downbeats though?
I think the idea is similarly like this. make that your overarching structure and start trying to add one or two
Okay.
syncopated notes.
Got it.
Okay, perfect. Everyone have their assignment? We're ready to go? Homegrown
Bodega flavor.
bodega flavor. Homegrown bodega
That's
flavor. That
honestly
sounds fire by
not
itself.
a bad name for a bodega.
Homegrown bodega flavor?
No, not all four, just bodega flavor.
Just bodega flavor? I mean, yeah.
Bodega flavor.
I would still go to homegrown bodega flavor. I don't know what that means, but I'm down.
It's provocative. Gets the people going.
nice. Okay. Any observations, thoughts?
I think, I was out of it. I was like, where do I come in? Where do I not come in? And then I was like, I'll figure it out.
So I think this is funny because I was wondering if because it feels like the first couple of times it felt very, very natural, but then maybe you were a little bit more mental
I was
this
thinking.
time. Right, you
I
were
was
thinking.
and that'll fuck you up every time.
right.
Using your brain. Why would you do that? No.
Right.
But I was definitely thinking because it was like more intuitive the first few times. I think improv allows you that space to just do.
Right.
But then when you have to structure something and then be consistent with it for the sake of like, okay, how does everybody else remember what to do?
Right.
It's like, oh, I have to actually think about these lyrics a little bit more.
Right.
So then it was like, okay, a second verse is coming. What do I say? What do I say? What do I say? So it felt like once there was more pressure on the communal aspect, I was like, oh, I feel how you guys feel. You gotta remember the same part. Dang. And then I completely flipped it because it was too much pressure. I do like the second bridge that I did instead of the first one, though. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like that was more fun, like crawling up these walls, nothing left but withdrawals. Cause, sorry, man.
No, it's okay.
I remember when I used to take things, I was like, damn, where's mine?
Oh, I see you're better than me.
No, I said I used to be there, so I
Yeah,
understand.
and now you're better than me.
Right.
No.
Okay, guys. Okay, hold on. Time out.
The Aquariuses are fighting. No, I think the thing that is really funny to me is just that, only because I'm a vocalist, that's the only reason I stopped. That's literally the only reason. If I didn't have to use this, I would sound like that. You know?
Right.
So, yeah. But the withdrawals, it'd be crazy. It's like, damn. So I felt like I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I think this is definitely maybe the challenge for you is like maintaining that feeling of freedom while creating some markers to hold things together.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Because it kept flipping and I was like, oh, I'm fucking up. Like, I know what's my part.
And it's hard to like, because that's definitely happened and I've had to learn how to like, well, what I think it actually really comes down to is sublimating. Like you have to get to the point where things come to you versus you having to go to it. So that rhyme piece is an example of that, and that's true I think of targeted notes too, where it's like you practice in a way where I don't have to, if I'm overly focused on the rhymes, that can be distracting from the storytelling or the overall rhythm and the flow. So what I really want to do ideally is get the rhyme's so ingrained that it jumps out at me, where I'm not like orange door hits, like I'm not like struggling to find it, because that can take us out of the moment in the music.
Yeah.
But the way you get to that is like, at least with rhymes as an example, is doing a lot of just like cat, hat, scat, baseball, bat, rat, you know, trad, jazz. That was just,
Do that.
I forced that one, but that was called a slant rhyme. Anyway, but yeah, ideally what I'm doing, just as again to analogize, in any of these contexts, I think what we ideally want to do is be to the point where it's like I'm focused on like expressing and conveying an idea or telling a story, and the rhymes will jump out at me. But if the rhyme doesn't jump out at me, I don't want to get so distracted by the fact that it didn't happen that I'm out of the moment again.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Just gloss over it.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's,
You just do like a little ad-lib or a filler or something and just let the moment, you know.
yeah, and what's funny is I feel like a lot of that gets into a mental game too, because people don't even notice. Like, if I don't think the rhyme is the important thing, but if you convey whatever you're saying with confidence, that's the part that like people maybe notice more. And I think it's the same thing is true here, which is like, you're worried about maybe hitting a note in, like an in note. We get so caught up in finding the notes that are in the scale. But if you hit, like, you know, if you hit an out note, it's gonna be a choice. But it's better to get in the habit of playing something and just staying on the horse versus always being like and creating that as your practice. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what I think what it comes down to is like getting caught up in the practice of like if you keep training yourself to be like hesitant, that's more dangerous to me than actually making wrong choices. Like once you make a wrong choice, you can adapt. You can like make something better. But if you stop that whole process, then there's no chance for it to work out. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know, like this song, I like this because I feel like it's pretty concrete. So now I feel like we're getting into these micro nuances. Any other observations? I have one or two things I could suggest, but does anything else like come to mind for you guys?
I apologize. What is your name again?
Nabil.
Nabil. I really like you got a lot more solid in my opinion, which allowed me to take risks, which I'm not sure I should have taken. Like I just kind of started playing new parts that I didn't think I was going to play, but then it was already happening. And the only reason I was even like, the only reason that could happen is because you like locked it down.
Awesome, thank you.
Took a look.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so now I guess what I would like to see, I do want to see some risk taking with you. I feel like right now just keeping it above. Like I feel like I see two modes from you.
Yeah.
I see lockdown mode and then I see like exploration mode.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find the happy medium.
Yeah.
Okay? So like can you for a moment be like, huh? And then come back. Okay? So if you'll indulge me actually, why don't we just I wanna have like a bass moment. I'm just gonna play just the 4 on the floor. And I think it'll help contextualize it. Unless you want to have a peach moment, you know what I mean?
Control myself.
Okay, so play the main line. Okay, nice. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to try and pick a different note on the one. But then coming back. No matter what you do, whether it's in or out, can you come back? Like that. That's a nice variation. Okay, that was a little more out. Okay, now, alright, so now here's what I think we need to talk about this briefly. We gotta talk about voice leading.
Okay.
Do you know voice leading?
I mean, I took music theory in school, but like I in practice now.
Okay, Jomani, do you know what voice leading is? Have you heard about that?
Is this
Okay,
where you
this is
sing
like a player
to
term.
play?
Huh?
Is this where you sing to play? Is that, or is this different?
No, it's different, but that's
It's like
good
you
advice.
kind of hear where the melody's going.
Yeah, voice leading, what it implies is, maybe I'm seeing everything through spectrums right now, but I think this applies to smoothness. So voice leading generally means you're taking notes that are connected by like a half tone or a whole tone, right? So stepwise, like in a scale,
Yeah.
and those tend to feel smoother.
Right.
Okay, so a lot of times piano players will, or guitar players will use voice leading, any instrument can,
Okay.
but using that connectivity in order to create the feeling of smoothness.
Is this like the same concept as like using passive tones, like chromatic passive tone?
That's an example of voice leading,
Alright.
right? You're creating, like what you were doing is you were like
Just
sliding
going,
way
yeah.
up, which is a choice, but it's a very aggressive choice.
Yeah. One
See
that
what
I
I'm
use
saying?
often too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right, and sometimes that's really what you do want. You want to go, ooh!
Yeah.
But there are subtler choices
Okay.
that imply something else that don't necessarily stick out as much.
Okay.
So, whatever. What's a good example? Like, okay, what? Da, da, da. Something like that. I've been listening to it. Okay, so but the point I'm trying to make is like, play the bass line. Great. Okay, So an example would be, the way I would say is like, think about the connectivity, like think of voice leading as like a bridge
Okay.
between two notes.
Okay.
So a way you could voice lead into,
Yeah.
right? And then you, right?
Yeah.
But so it's like creating smoothness by like adding scale notes in between and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So that's an example of voice leading. But what I'm actually suggesting here is, here's an example. So the second note, you're going B to D
Yeah.
to G flat, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. What I'm suggesting is a perfect place maybe for voice leading is you could go B, maybe down to A,
Oh.
to G, right? To G flat. Okay. Or you could go B, maybe you go A flat,
Okay.
G. That's a much more R&B or
Yeah.
gospel choice.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do that one more time just so you can hear that. You might want to, yeah, if you're following along too. So, okay, now A flat, G, G flat. I'm gonna do it one more time to give a different color. Okay, A flat, which is a 7 chord. G flat. Okay, you could also go
What quality was that A flat?
that last time. Or the
both
times before it.
times.
The first time I was implying more of like a sus chord. So that's like, you could call that G flat major over A flat, right? And then the second time, they're both actually, they're functionally operating as dominant chords in both cases. So, and the second one I just did more of a 7 chord, like A flat 7, okay? Or A flat 9, right? So, you said what?
I'm cold.
Do you want to switch?
Oh yeah, we can also move the, you don't have to, we can move that out of the way. Or yeah.
I don't want to create too much. Because the mic doesn't extend that far.
Oh, I
Do
see,
you
I
wanna-
see.
Where does the mic go to?
Well, it's actually coming all the way over here, so
Yeah.
it's kind of, yeah,
Alright.
I'll sit here.
yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, but and let me give you one more example,
Oh,
okay?
no, it's fine. It's fine.
You said what? Aww. But your presence will be felt.
Hi, guys. Wait.
Guys.
Hi.
Hi.
I exist.
Okay. That's deep.
I was here.
So those are a couple examples. Let me give one or two more. So okay, let's instead of the second chord, let's see what might be some fun. We could also change the third chord. So instead of coming down from G, now this is kind of out. You could go. Wait, stop for 1 second, just so you can listen.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. Okay. Okay. That, and what I did there is I reinforced it by making it an F7 chord. Okay, so that's like or a F13 actually. Okay. Right? So yeah, not to get too whatever.
Not to do too
You
much.
should have fun with this part. So are we doing it
Take a sip.
Okay, but so what I'm doing there is I'm creating voice leading opportunities. Great, that's great. That sounds wonderful. Hold on. Gotta turn you down for a second. But so what I'm gonna say is take one note. Okay, yeah, hold on. Take one note and sub it out. And think about the target note. So the target note is the next note. So if you're moving the first note, you can go da da da. So now what you actually did by that, when you're playing that note, that's actually like voice leading. That's like you're targeting that B, so you play right below it,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so instead play right above it. So that's the note right above. So you see what I'm saying? So don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know all of the, I'm giving you all the no names and shit.
Yeah.
Just think about, all right, what's something that's a whole step or a half step
Yeah.
close to the note I was gonna hit
We're
after
changing
it.
the path to the target,
The path.
but not by too much. We're changing just.
Yeah, I mean, once you get smoother at doing this, when you experiment enough, you can
Yeah.
get more out. When I was doing
Yeah.
all that when I was doing extra.
Yeah.
You can get extra when the time's right. But start now just with something that is a half step or a whole step leading up to your next note,
Okay.
which is back in the original progression. You see what I'm saying?
For sure.
Okay.
Nabil, just another thing. You may already know this, but if you play a note that sounds out of key, the two notes around it are in key.
Yeah. So, and I might even, just because we're experimenting with this idea, I think that's where this is like an arranging thing that any of us can do. I think even a vocalist can do that. If you try to find, actually let's experiment with this. I'd love for you to try and find a note that is like directly above or directly below. So play the section, the verse section. I'll give you an example. All right, there it is. So if that's my note, okay, so I might say,
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? Just those little. Exactly. Right. Yeah. You're a master at this already. But yeah, but start thinking about try and think like, okay, here's my main line, and then you interject, we do that. Like add a note to like intentionally try to push it. Yeah, I mean that felt pretty into me. I mean it felt very into me. But I guess I'm suggesting try. Yeah, like that's an example. You hit chromatic. So that's like an alternate path that leads us back. That's to that target note, right? Because I think it's just like the root note, right? So yeah, maybe. So let's get out of words for a minute. You can use your instincts.
Do vocals.
But yeah, and now let's focus on like choosing different melodic choices to give us different energy. Yeah? Okay, cool. Brian, do you feel like do you need some assistance, guidance? We were trying to work on these syncopations.
No, I think I lost my two-step, but I think I'll just find a new one if that's cool.
It's perfect. Okay, well let's take it from there and let's see where we go.
I forgot my note.
Okay, yeah, we got a few more minutes, so we'll play this a couple more times and reflect, and then we out of
It's
here.
too loud. Hello? There's a feedback. I don't know if you want that.
Little fuzz.
There's a little peach fuzz up in there. See, back to peach.
Sing something.
Huh? No, I said back to peaches, because
Oh.
peach fuzz.
Oh yeah, no, I was asking you to just sing something so I can. Okay, can you hear yourself well enough?
I can.
There is a. Alright, we're gonna have a little fuzz, but that's alright. This is rock and roll, right?
Is that what you roll play?
Right. Use those target notes and try different paths too. Try to keep those See what I'm saying? here's what I'll say. So now, I haven't come up with a name for it, but we're in the extras section right now, which is fine. It's a very dangerous game we're playing. This is many a New York musician go down the road of extra and never come back.
Wow.
So many musicians in the world sometimes, and this is taste to a certain degree, but at least personally, I love doing this kind of exploration. So you push the boundaries of what you see as possible, and then I like to use some of this stuff as a very tasteful moment. Try to like push, see how far you can go, and be like, ooh, I like that. And so when you want that killing moment, you know what I mean, you can insert it without it taking over the music in a way that's like an obstruction.
I see.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're getting into this again, and again, maybe this. I'm not sure if I mean it as a diss or not, but this music college shit. It's like it's giving like, okay, like, oh, what's possible? Oh, what else could I do? What else could I do? Without any like context for like the meaning of the song or like, you know what I'm saying?
Returning back to ground.
Yeah.
You said what?
It's like returning back to, like, sometimes you kind of like take off, but you gotta kind of like.
You gotta land it.
Yeah, this is
Land the plane.
right. Yeah, this is all like technical, fun stuff for musicians, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes musicians get addicted to that, and even defend it as a whole lifestyle. That's fine. That's fine. But I'm just saying, personally, I think it's great keeping it in balance especially if you want to work. That's the other thing. Like, I'm not usually trying to give advice, but if we want to be real about it, if you want to get jobs, right? Like the drummers who can do crazy fills, sometimes they get work, but a lot of times they don't get the call, not from the big gigs, because they need somebody who actually knows how to like sit still, and then occasionally give something crazy when it's appropriate. So learning how to be tasteful.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I feel like let's go one more time, continue to push a little more, and then want us to play one last time where we take what we've learned, like those nuggets, and then insert those little moments. So that's like, again, it's like, okay, let me add some extra riffs, or okay, let me do a reharmonization, let me do a crazy run where I maybe like get little Ella Fitzgerald for a second, whatever. But then we come back to the bodega.
The bodega flavor.
Right, the bodega flavor.
That's our band name.
Yeah, I think it is.
Bodega flavor.
I would go to a bodega flavor show. Are you kidding me?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I wouldn't even have to hear the music. I'd be like, I'm going. Just based on the name alone, I gotta go.
Some good downstream business opportunities too. Branding.
All right, let's see.
Give me a chopped cheese. Actually, I think I'm gonna get a chopped cheese on the way home.
Yeah, see, look, that's what happens.
No,
I'm so hungry.
You know what we could do? We could partner with the bodega.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play at the
You know when you see like,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know when you see like a DJ in like the videos of a DJ in like a McDonald's
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
like a jam in a bodega.
A jam in a bodega.
I
And
think-
it would be the one on Myrtle and Broadway, and there's no other one that we could do. It has to be the one. It has
Oh my
to.
God,
It
I'm
looks
scared.
like
I'm scared of that one.
And that, me too. That's what face
That's
your
how we gotta
fears.
do it. Face your fears.
Well, I mean, what should I be? I live there. Should I be
Myrtle
scared?
Broadway?
Yeah.
Oh,
You should just be cautious. You should be aware.
As soon as you see that Popeyes, you know you're in a parallel universe.
Yeah,
You
seriously.
saw that
What's
video.
The combo
Yes.
Popeyes.
Huh?
Yeah.
The combo Popeyes.
Yeah.
Popeyes, Dunkin', and what's the name of it?
Yeah.
Checkers.
With the
Checkers,
rails
yeah.
right up, right
Yeah,
up.
yeah, and there's no walking away. I used to
It's
take
real.
that train station
I see
every
the
day.
video.
I know,
I
you
see
should
the
be
video.
afraid.
Yeah.
You should be very afraid.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna do.
Keep your eyes on the swivel.
Bro, I walk around like with my
Right,
headphones
right.
in my own zone. Like bad things can happen to me there.
Yeah. So don't do that.
Don't do that, especially at night.
Right.
They come out at night.
Well, we'll go over more safety tips out of it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah, let's try and stretch one more time. Let's try and take it out. Did I have another important point here? No, let's just play the riff and let's see if we can really. This is your moment to try and see if you go out and hold it together. You too, because again I feel like you have this very strong stability instinct, which I love, like from a musical perspective. But I also want you not to feel so, like
Was I not going out in that last one?
I think you can go further. Is all I'm
Nope.
saying.
You asked for it.
I did. I absolutely did, and I'm also gonna do too much. Okay, I'm gonna just think about all the rudiments I know without any discernment. Just just give it all. Listen.
Here it is.
Okay.
Fuck it.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna interject my opinion. How did you feel about what we just did?
I felt like there were really good like moments. Like some of my favorite moments of the entire night were in that last bit.
Yes.
But there were like also moments where I felt like we lost it.
Mm-hmm. Right. I feel like we were living more on the edge. You know what I'm saying? And so that's cool. But that's why I'm saying it's like it's good to make. I would even say like back when I was like really gigging like as a keys player, if I had the time, I would try to make an intentional point. It's like I gotta know the music, number one, but then also try and give me some space to just like see how far I could take it. And then I'm only gonna use probably 10% if that, on the gig, that extra stuff. But allowing yourself to go there is really important, I think. Also, after that whole talk about doing too much, like, sure, we were full, but it didn't feel crazy. A lot of times what we think is too much is not objective. You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on how, like, egotistical or not we are, may determine our perception of ourselves and how much we're interjecting ourselves. But overall, that didn't feel crazy. It felt full. It felt like we were in the drive the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel like we came back to those, like, lower dynamic levels. But it also still felt like music. You know what I mean? It felt maybe a little more sloppy or whatever, you know what I mean? But like, it felt adventurous, it felt fun, it felt like it was something you might want to listen to.
Yeah. I feel like because we built up to it, you know, like we didn't just like go in dry and then just like, you know, go crazy.
I thought that was one of my favorite parts actually, when we first started it and everyone was like, all right, we're about to go, but we didn't quite go yet.
Yeah.
There was like it felt like I was feeling that spirit of freedom in the music, which was nice. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's see if we can, I think we're about finished. Let's just like, why don't we try and sing the song one more time? Taking in what we've come together with, like going to the far reaches, some lyrical motifs, like, you know, some targeting, and trying to see if we can find a balance. Let's see. Let's see.
Hello?
Yeah.
Wait, is it on? Hello, hello, hello.
Well, it might be the cable, because it is like.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah. Hello, hello. Hey, hello, hello. Hello, hello.
You are coming out, but it's just so quiet.
Hey, hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Give me one
Should
second.
I stand? Do I need to? I could stand.
I don't think that's gonna do it. Yeah, we just have like hella buzz, like all the buzz in the universe.
Shout out Buzz Lightyear. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not mad at you. I'm like, it just is what it is. Okay, all right. Let's just try it. Let's just try it. And we're gonna use dynamics, so you don't have to, you know.
Dynamics. Yes.
God, why do I always do the guitar but like, why do I noodle? It's like your equivalent would be like if I was trying to tune my guitar and you were doing fills.
Yeah.
But you're not doing that. You're not doing that. Only I'm doing the fill.
I kind of like the fact that you know, because like it feels like you're just leaking like ideas. Like it'd be one thing if you're just playing like random. Like,
Don't
shit,
encourage
you know?
him.
No, I'm
Crazy.
just saying.
No.
I'm like, wait, what are you doing?
No, it feels like comforting to me because every guitar player knows those. No matter what.
They're just like.
Yeah. It feels like you have no choice. But yeah. Not to get into the like, you know, I usually in these talks like focus on the like the musical part, but there is like the economics part, which is like sometimes the guitar player who gets the gig is the one who knows how to shut up between takes. Drummers too, like knowing how to just.
The hands are itchy, but the silence.
Right. It's like it's meditative, you know. It's the zen of it all, you know. I don't know if you're looking to go on tour or whatever, but now you know.
Yeah, I'm looking to be
I
a
don't watch
master
you
of
say it, but
myself.
like I know, yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes.
I like that just came out of like
just
left
came
field
out
for
of
you.
nowhere. I have
Wow.
ADHD.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
There's an anime called Demon Slayer, and you
Yeah.
said the zen of it all, and I was like, that's why his name is Zenitsu.
Oh yeah, I've never watched that one.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's
But
about.
he's very zenny.
No, he falls asleep in the face of conflict, but he still gets whatever he needs to get done in a sleep mode.
I feel like that says like something entirely else, you know. Like,
No, bro, I did not. I was like, fuck.
No, I can see it.
I
come
don't know
together.
why
Yeah,
it came
yeah,
at that moment.
yeah.
If you're an anime fan and you knew this already, I was today years old. This documentary.
Right.
It's because
Wow.
our brains
That's
are open.
crazy.
I hope it brings. Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
somebody else models one just.
Yeah,
Lots of
that's
stuff.
crazy. That was a high thought without the
That's a
weight.
good one. That's a good one.
Isn't that what we all want? You know?
Yeah.
To get to that state. You know?
Yeah.
Here. Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's try it one more time.
That's wild.
Yeah, we're in there.
Okay.
can perfect the ending still, but you know.
Fun.
I feel like we got it. This is the back in the days you used to play the song for like 20 minutes and then the engineer would just fade out when the musicians were dragging it. Like,
They were
all
like,
right,
you know what?
that's fine. Like,
That's a
that's
30
enough.
minute track.
Okay, great. No. I definitely see. I think we have another hit song on our hands. Okay, so yeah, so before we get out of here, making sure, what is our seed here? What do we feel like we've come away with? Anyone want to go first? What's your assignment for yourself this coming week?
Pushing the envelope.
Pushing the envelope. Okay.
Like knowing how to like take yourself out of your comfort zone in a somewhat responsible fashion. But I don't want to throw the word. I don't want to hamper on that word. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, just take yourself there, take yourself back, go in the middle. You know, like
Yes.
mess around, but like in an intentional way. Because I felt like just throughout the entire workshop, like doing that really like warmed us up and like also got us more comfortable with each other. And like, you know, I was like, I knew what to expect from Brian, you know, as time went on. I knew what to expect from Kamani from you, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like that really like,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, and I want to say this before I forget on that note, you know, because we try to do the most. I also think an underutilized exercise is doing the least. Seeing how minimal you can be, like taking it as far down as you can, and so testing your range on both directions, on both ends. Right. That's yeah. I'm basically always saying the same
Less is
thing.
more and dynamics.
Right. But really, like, it's crazy because then it's like that's a different challenge. Playing drums is really hard to quiet, actually, and some people really aren't that good at it. And so like, but just like figuring out, okay, how can I do like just like make this a singer-songwriter, you know, just like just like really minimal, and then so expanding your range in both directions. But yeah, that balance, that balancing. How about you, Brian? You have anything?
My seed is take the same thing and play it a bunch of different ways.
Yep, there you go. There it is. Yeah, no, and a lot of music to me is that. It's like finding you were talking about like chunking or like whatever, finding your cell or finding like that piece, your module, but there's like infinite variations, you know, but when you have that centering point, it makes it a lot easier. What about you, Giovanni?
Leave breadcrumbs and hope nobody else eats them. Okay.
Interesting.
So I would drop a breadcrumb, home, Rome, bodega, believe it, and remember it, and hope nobody eats it on the way. So I feel like when I say nobody eats it, not to be like, oh, it's somebody else's responsibility to remind me, but somebody else's variation shouldn't throw off how I remember where my breadcrumbs are. So it's almost like in my brain, I may leave a breadcrumb at a specific sound. This note correlates to this lyric. Somebody doesn't play that note, I still have to remember that I left a breadcrumb.
Right.
So that's my responsibility. I have to say it
That's
like that
deep.
so I can think about it like that.
I like the way you said that because I was gonna ask you what I hope nobody else eats it means.
Basically, like
no,
if
it
we
makes sense
change-
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's really dope. Hell yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
That was a very artistic way to say that.
Yeah.
That's its own song in and of itself,
Yeah.
honestly. You know?
Cool. Thank you.
There it is. Leave breadcrumbs, no one else eats them. So far. Well, y'all, thank you. I hope this was enlightening. I feel like we got somewhere by the end. You know what I mean? Bodega Flavor Show coming soon.
Soon. All right.
To a dive
At
bar near you.
Myrtle.
Oh, at Myrtle, right.
Broadway.
Specifically at Myrtle,
You
Broadway.
cannot not do it at that
We
bodega.
gotta do it,
Are you
right.
talking about the one that's like kind of dark inside?
No, the one.
They're all dark inside over there.
They're spirits that work.
Right.
No, the one right across the street from the Popeyes that's on that triangular angle.
Thank
The
you
ones
to
where-
whoever is
Across
out
the
there
street
checking this
from
out.
Popeyes.
More workshops coming
If
soon.
you walk straight.
What's happening? Oh yeah,
okay, like you're
Friday.
talking about, like,
We're doing
across
a
the
4th of
diagonal
July party.
Of this street, like.
Not okay. So you see the Popeyes
and
across the street from the
love to you
Popeyes
as well.
the farm
And
fresh
then
thing.
Saturday we have
Across
a jam
from
called
there.
Saturday in the evening. So come peep those things out.
I've never been to that one actually.
More
Yeah.
music,
No.
more life.
But
Please
it's
subscribe.
the most
See y'all
spacious
soon.
one.
Peace, peace.
So that's the most spacious bodega.